Number 3 in the name of Deputy Mattie McGrath, the need for measures to address the escalating costs associated with motor vehicle insurance. Deputy Mattie McGrath.
First of all, I want to thank the Count Caller for giving me this topical issue this evening, a vitally important issue that affects every village, hamlet, home in Ireland today, not only Tipperary. I would question why it has taken the Competition Consumer Protection Authority so long to initiate what has been an outstanding and urgent and clear case of market manipulation within the car vehicle insurance sector. The language that this authority, as one of these quangos again, has used in a statement announcing the issuing of summonses, in particular, is viewed that industry participants openly signalling upcoming increases may result in a degree of unspoken coordination. Did you ever hear such bunkum? When we know that every young person, every pensioner, every family care holder is being screwed backwards at the moment by insurance companies. And we get this timid language from this quango. I'd love to know what the cost of the quango is and who's paying their insurance, or are they insurable, because they're worthless, they're toothless and they're useless. That's all I say to you. The crushing impact, you may laugh, Minister, you may laugh, but you know as well, you're getting your constituency clinics every day of the week. There has been ample anecdotal evidence from every town and village, as I said, about in the last 5 years about the premium increases. They have defied any logic, any reasonable expectations, and operated outside of market conditions. The political reaction at government issue has been extremely weak and inordinately slow, and I hope the Minister of State and the other ministers there will listen to that. Government has completely failed to grasp the seriousness of this situation for thousands of motor vehicle users, and only at the last moment, driven largely by public pressure, woken up to the scale of the problem that exists. We have had beef cartels, we have had bank cartels, all of whom use their industry dominance and insider knowledge to maintain the generation of massive and obscene profits. They've wiped out the farmers, the banks have wiped out the whole country. And are we going to let the motor insurance rip us all off here as well? Because they're doing it on an hourly basis. Take last year alone, Ministers. Allianz, Europe's biggest insurer, has reported record operating profits of €10.8 billion. Last year, 2015, €10.8 billion. Allianz. Aviva, Ireland, reported an increase of 32% in its operating profit to €92 million last year. What do they want? The blood of the people. I mean, we have young people who go out there and do the theory test now and do all the pay an instructor to get the proper standard of driving, pass their tests, and then they're made criminals before they go on the road because they're penalised totally. Penalised up to the tune of 4 and 5 and 6 and 7,000. They can buy a car for 2 or 3,000 and the insurance is costing their parents nearly 2 and 3 and 4 times that much. It's a rotten stinking cartel. I've seen a case lately in Tipperary where the Competition Authority have investigated small bus companies who said they suspect are operating cartel, and they can get the might of the law down on top of them, down raised with all kinds of intimidation of the bus owners. And I don't support any cartels, but I will tell you one thing, this has to stop, and I want to see the Competition Authority crack their muscles and flex their muscles, not use this timid language that you'd use if you were courting a girl up aboard here when we're all Buckley Og, agus Colleen Ogie, Fado. It's a total, I can't use the language I want to use here today because it would describe what's going on. The victimisation is going on with the families and with young people and with elderly people as well, and also the road hauliers. The amount of road hauliers that are now insuring themselves abroad and registering abroad. It's a huge flow of jobs from Ireland, and we're trying to recovering economy, and we have this cartel and the insurance companies trying to racketeer and make more and more profits on top of ordinary families. And I hope the Minister will give some kind of reply and give some sustenance and some hope to the families out there and the businesses out there, small businesses especially, that cannot afford this, and is crippling business, is crippling families and crippling students, everybody else.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you very much.
I always had my mojo, I never lost it.
Come on, Matty. Let's have the reply.
I would like to thank Deputy McGrath for raising this very important issue, and glad he didn't use that language, because I'd be very sensitive towards any language like that. But measures to address the rising cost of motor insurance is a high priority for the Government. The Cost of Insurance Working Group, chaired by Minister of State Owen Murphy TD, is undertaking a review of the factors which are influencing the increased cost of motor insurance. The Working Group brings together all the relevant departments and offices involved with the process. Its objective is to identify immediate and longer-term measures that can address increasing costs, while bearing in mind the need to maintain a stable insurance sector. The core areas to be examined by the working groups for the first phase are the motor insurance sector generally at present and in recent years, the effects of legal costs and litigation processes on insurance costs, the current claims compensation arrangements and the cost of claims, insurance data and information, the impact of road accident rates, the impact of unlawful activity on the insurance sector and other market issues. A number of additional issues which impact upon consumers and the business sector in relation to motor insurance are also being considered by the Minister. These include a lack of link between the national car test and the availability of insurance costs for young drivers and those over 65, the case for rural dwellers with no public transport to have a car insurance at reasonable costs, the issue of returning immigrants having difficulty obtaining car insurance, the cost of insurance to taxi drivers, hackneys, hauliers and other people that are involved in the transport business. Because the issue of the cost of insurance is complex, and in order to get to the heart of these issues as soon as possible, Minister State Murphy has established 4 sub-working groups to review them in detail. Chairs have been appointed to each of these subgroups and work has commenced. The subgroups are meeting weekly and their outputs are feeding directly into the meetings of the main working group. The working group will hold its 5th meeting this Thursday and will continue to meet every 2 or 3 weeks to the end of 2016. A consultation process has commenced. Minister State Home Murphy TD has informed meetings with representatives from a number of key stakeholders, including Insurance Ireland, AA Ireland, the Irish Brokers Association, the Injuries Board, IBEC, FBD Insurance and the Central Bank of Ireland. The working group has, and 4 subgroups, is also meeting with the relevant stakeholders, and its 3rd meeting the working group met with representatives from the Law Society, AA Ireland, the Irish Brokers Association and the Consumer Association of Ireland. Further consultations will be arranged. In addition, submissions received by all interested parties are being considered as part of the process. By the end of October, the working group will provide the Minister for Finance with an update report, which will set out the priority actions required from November to December. The working group will then develop an action plan to enable the relevant government departments and offices to commence the implementation of these priority actions. In this regard, Minister of State Murphy TD will be consulting regularly with government colleagues.
Thank you, Minister. Mattie McGrath.
Someone over there want to get their mojo.
One more mojos now.
Working groups and consultation groups. Look, Minister, you know, and we all know, and all the staff here and everybody else knows, this is going on with 18 months. I know they took the interregnum between the government being formed and it went off and took everyone for a fast ride around the country and the insurance companies. I read the figures and I read them again. Allianz Insurance, biggest insurer, and Allianz, Europe's biggest insurer, reported operating profit of 10.8 billion last year, 2015. Avivia, 32% increase in its profit. No time for talking. It's time for action. Just deal with them. You're tickling the Law Society by bringing them in and talking to them. They're cleaning people, robbing people we know for years. This is legalised robbery. And this is forcing people to go uninsured. If they have accidents in, ordinary consumers, ordinary motorists are paying the price. My own insurance issue went up by 50%. I'll put up with that. And less and less cover for young drivers and everything else. I'm talking about business insurance. The amount of jobs that have been lost and are being lost on a daily basis. We did last year, the road hauliers got a break with the road tax. Now the insurance company decided to hijack them and double their insurance and increase them by 100% in some cases that I know of. In last week alone, Verona Murphy, who I admire, President of the Irish Road Haulers Association, asked why the road haulers are not allowed to access European single market for insurance as commercial entities, noting that there is no competition in the Irish market. And you have to have reports and consultations and subgroups and committees and weekly meetings go on to the end of the year to find out the answer. We all know what's going on. It's a cartel. It's a racket. It walks like a duck. It sings like a duck. It is a duck. It's a racket. And it's daylight robbery. Ms Murphy added that about 43% of trucks in Ireland now have foreign registered plates. That's telling. We're losing the tax revenue and customs revenue and all, while up to 30% of Irish operators are now based abroad. Are we going to allow this like the flight of owls? Will we wake up and smell the coffee? The insurance company has to be brought in by government, has to be dealt with. No point rubbing butter to a fat sow's backside. That's what's going on. It's pure plunder and rape of our business, our industry, our young people, our families, our economy. And it has to be stopped now. And no point of working groups and mojos and jojos, everything else. We need to have action. We need to have we're elected by the people to represent them to stop this racket and cartel. We put up with it with Larry Goodman. We put up with it with what we're doing to banks. This is one we can't put up with because it's going to drive our country into the abyss.
Thank you, Deputy.
I understand the Deputy's frustration and many other deputies right across the House. I would think all deputies right across the House are frustrated with the cost and rising cost of motor insurance. And there's not a day goes by that someone will mention the rising cost of motor insurance to me, and specifically people involved in the haulage business. And like I'm in County Wexford, and there's a high reliance on the haulage business in County Wexford, and I've no doubt Deputy McGrath, Tipperary and many other members right across the House. But as I have outlined, addressing the rising cost of motor insurance is a government priority, and work to identify the factors which are influencing the increasing costs is continuing apace in the Cost of Insurance Working Group. A chair of the working group, the Minister State Murphy, is driving the process and is working with all of the relevant stakeholders and government departments and officers to identify immediate and longer-term measures which can address insurance costs and the rising cost of insurance. Consultation with the relevant stakeholders involved is ongoing by the working group. The working group also looks forward to receiving the report of the important work the Joint Oireachtas Committee on Finance and Public Expenditure Reform and the Taoiseach is carrying out on this matter. The working group will provide an update to the Minister for Finance at the end of the month, which will set out the priority actions required. The working group will then develop an action plan to enable the relevant government departments and offices to commence the implementation of these priority actions by December. And I also spoke, like you, Deputy McGrath, to the President of the Road Hauliers Association and other members of the Road Haulier Association recently, only in the last number of days, where I met a number of hauliers who are absolutely crippled with the rising cost of insurance, and it is of huge concern for them, and also especially for young drivers. My own car insurance has gone up from I think it was €350 right up to €900, €950. That is unacceptable. And when families are struggling, absolutely families are struggling out there, and the cost of road insurance and car insurance is absolutely crippling families out there. And every young person now has a car, and most people now rely upon a car in each and every household. And I do take on board all of your sentiments, and I will take them back directly to Minister of State Murphy.
Thank you, Minister.